if you go to build.typedream.com, you'll be able to create an account or a login. So that is what I'm going to do right now. Then I'm going to open my email to receive the one-time password. Oops. And log in. Okay, and you should be able to create a new site here. So if you choose to create a new site, you'll be able to choose what kind of sites you want to create. And for today, I'm going to choose software as a service because Manny's site right here, bigplasma.ai, seems like it's a software company. Is it right, Manny?
Yeah, more of a consultancy. So helping companies develop an AI strategy for a product line or their business. It is software related because we ultimately tend to launch a new product or a new app. But I'd say like AI strategy consulting kind of work.
Okay, got it. So I would say out of these 5 categories that we have here, the most suitable one is probably the SaaS, right?
Right.
Okay. So if we start with SaaS, you'll be able to either pick a template or start from scratch. I'm going to take a peek at the pick a template. So if you choose pick a template, we have some pre-built templates here for you. So you can easily start from a template. But I've taken a look at Manny's site here and I've redesigned it before this workshop, so we can just simply copy the design I made. So here's the final result that we're going to build from scratch today. I'm going to show you a little bit of how it looks like.
Wow, this is so sick. Manny, have you seen this before?
I have not seen this. This looks amazing.
She's just teasing you with what the output would look like now.
I like it. I'm looking forward to seeing how somebody said take my money in the chat.
That's right.
That's amazing.
It's amazing. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I actually, I genuinely appreciate you teasing a little bit so that folks will stick to the end now because they're like, how the heck did she create this?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm experienced in writing a Twitter thread, everyone, because I build in public. Assume this is the first tweet, the hook. Yeah, so let's start from scratch since I have designed it this time. This is what you'll see if you start from scratch. You can simply empty this page because you want to start from scratch. And then if you've started from scratch, but you decided to go with a template, you can always click here, start with a template, and you'll see the selection of template you saw earlier in the onboarding process. And if you only want to continue with a section template, meaning you only want a template for the hero section or a template for the footer, you can always type /section template. Then select a template, and then we have a selection of just a template for a particular section here. Yeah, but for today, let's stick to starting from scratch. So if I look at the redesign, first let's do the hero section, which consists of heading, subtitle, CTA, and asset. This can be replaced with a mock-up of your product if you have one, but this is the general structure of a hero section. So let's do that. It is very similar to Notion, such that you can simply type / for commands. And then I'm going to use heading 1 for the title. And then I'm just going to copy paste stuff to make it easier. Yeah, so you can now build your landing page with me as well, because I'm going to take some time to upload all the images and to style the text. And for the button is as easy as typing /button and then type the chat. You can change the button color just by clicking the button, and then you can update the background color here. And you can link it to, I believe, just copy Manny's link here, copy link address, and you can add a link to the button. You can also set the link to open in a new tab if you want to. And then we have the asset. That asset is an image, so we can simply type /image and either upload, link it if you have a link elsewhere, Google Drive, or simply just google.com. We can go to resources, and we have some built-in assets that we take from Icons 8 here, as well as some pre-built gradients. But this time we're going to upload an asset. It's this one. And then just like Notion, you can simply drag this asset beside your text and rearrange it. It's very similar to Notion. If you're familiar with Notion, then this should be very intuitive to you. So we have the hero section done now. You can just simply resize the image to make it more similar. But yeah, the hero section is done. Do you need more time to work on your side, or can we move on to the next section? Okay, seems like we can move on. The next part is what is this thing called? Like customer validation. And the thing I want to highlight here is that if you're not a designer, like you have no design background, but you want to make your landing page look great, then I would say the first rule is to stick with a few colors. If you look at the redesign here, we're sticking with black, and then blue for the accent color. And the gradient will also follow the accent color, which is also blue. So not too many solid colors. And then the second one is Typedream has some beautiful defaults, I would say. So if you don't know how to design, our default should give you the modern website look. So the first one I want to highlight is, if you pay attention to the navigation bar, the menu bar right here, the default we have, you can style it to make it blurry like this, class morphism, so it's Apple-like design. And this is just default. You can simply select how to select that style, which is what I'm going to do right now. So to add a navigation bar, it's super easy. There's this button called Add Nav Bar. So that's just about it. That is how you add a navigation bar. Simple and easy. And then you can style the navigation bar. And the style I picked for Manny's website redesign is the blur style. So if you click blur here and combine it with stick to top, meaning when I scroll through the website, the navigation bar will stick on the top part of the website. So if I scroll here, it'll blur, if you pay attention to that, which gives the Apple-like feel to your website, just like that. The default is just Apple-like. Yeah, and then the second part, aside from color and the Apple-like navigation bar, is we have cart defaults. You don't have to design this. I believe if you go to other website builders, you have to determine the good radius to create this Apple-like cart. You have to determine the shadow and all those kind of technical terms. But with Typedream, we're going to rebuild the section right now. with Typedream, you can simply type, one moment. You can, I'm going to drag this command box right here, but you can simply type /container to create these containers or cards. And then you can style it as a card. So we have plain, which is just plain square, or we can style it as a card. Styling something as a card will give it a shadow and a rounded corner by default. We're gonna fill the inside so you can see the difference. I'm gonna copy the text first, actually. Style it. Insert it here. And then insert the image. And then the name. Yeah. Style it like this. The image should be on the left and a little bit smaller. And there's a space. This is probably subtitled too, so it's not too big. Yep. Yeah, so with the card, if you can see here, let me move my mouse away. But yeah, if you style a container as a card, then it'll give you a rounded corner and a drop shadow. You don't have to determine the shadow. We've took inspiration from Apple, such that if you choose this default, then your website will look Apple-y. If you style it as plain, I'm just going to show the difference here. It's just going to be plain, so no borders, no rounded corners, nothing. Yeah, so I'm going to style it back as a card, and then I can simply duplicate this card. There are 3 cards here, and I'm going to put the cards side by side, all 3 of them. Yeah, and then you can just adjust the width and change the content to each person. All good? So far, so good? Do you have any questions, Manny?
I really like this, Michelle. It's very
Mhm.
clean, obviously very easy. I think that also you have a synced container function as well.
Yes.
So that if I want to repurpose this exact same container, I only build it once and I can like copy that link somewhere else in the page. And to me, that's going to help me save time, because I'm sure I'm going to have another page where I'm going to have another call to action and I want to show social proof. I could just copy paste the same testimonials and put that there and not have to rebuild everything from scratch.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm going to show that functionality. So let's say you want to show this customer review column or container in another page. Since it's called a synced container, you have to insert this column inside a container first, if that makes sense. And then you can make the container a synced container by clicking this button, new synced container. Then I'm going to rename this to testimonials. Save. And then if I have a new page and I want to reuse this container, then I can simply type /synced container, select existing, and just select my testimonials. So I would say this feature is mostly used for footer, since you want to add the same footer to every page of your website. You don't have to recreate that. You don't only have to copy paste, because if you just copy paste, then if you update something in the footer, it won't be synced across pages. Whereas if you use sync containers, let's say I update this one, then it'll also be updated in the other pages as well. Does that show what you want to show, Manny?
Totally, that's very helpful. And it's also, I find it helpful for my personal brand Typedream website, where I'm producing content and I have the same kind of call to action, like subscribe to my podcast, go here for the YouTube thing.
Yeah.
Whenever I do a new post, I just use that same container and I just drops everything in there. I don't have to worry about that again. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a great use case. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, so if we have no more questions, then we're going to continue with the rebuild. So we did the hero section, we did the client section, which we showcased on how to use cards. This is basically just like another hero section, which you should be able to build with whatever we just went through just now. So I want to showcase this part now because the third part of Typedream's beautiful default that I want to showcase is that we have built-in gradients. We highly take inspirations from Apple. So aside from the blurry navigation bar, the rounded shadow cards, we also love how they use gradients. So if you notice this container right here, we have moving gradients and the color selection are actually inspired by Apple. We have that default, so you can simply type /container again because this thing is a container that is styled as a cart with the round corners. And then I'm gonna select the container and then add a background. You can change the background color to some of our solid gradients right here, or even solid colors. But if you want more gradient selections, then you can do background image, go to resources, and then we have gradients here. We have a lot of pre-built gradients and the color selections are all inspired by Apple. And we have both static images and GIF to make moving gradients. I'm gonna choose this one for today's demo. Oops, I selected the wrong container. It would be, yeah, let's just do this one then. And then insert the texts inside. I'm gonna drop a text box inside the container and text. Change the color. And then we also have that icon that is just a button, but instead of text, we click add icon here, and then that is probably a dollar icon. So I'm just gonna type here. Yep, this one, it's a white icon. Use icon, and then there's no button text, so I'm just going to delete the text, which will give you an icon only button.
Michelle, can I say that is such a cool little hack you just showed there? Like, I feel like finding the right icons is such a big pain point in doing some of this stuff. So that's a really cool hack. Thank you for showing me. You button, and then you take away the text, and you just use the image, the icon, and then boom, that's your icon, done.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I would say the most popular use case here is if you want to add a link to your social, you can simply type Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, and then just stack your social icons here. I'm going to show you a couple. Yeah, we should have all the popular social icons. Then you can even stack it right beside each other and style it.
So fast. That's so fast.
Yeah, so that's the container. Oh, this is still plain style, so I'm gonna style it as a card for rounded corners and shadows. I would say you can't really see the shadow if you have a background color, but the shadow is more prominent on white containers, like the one we created earlier. And then I'm just gonna duplicate this container and do this one. I'm gonna do it one by one actually. By the way, if any of the audience are building their websites right now and they have a question, feel free to hop in and I'll be happy to answer your questions.
I want to know from the audience who's building a website and when. Like, can we like get some folks to say, I'm going to build my new website on TypeShare by tomorrow and share it on Twitter?
That would be a fun challenge, right?
Woo!
24-hour challenge. Your time starts now. In fact, I am actually building one as the host, and it's a pain in the ass because I'm like multitasking, but I'm trying to create something while Michelle shows the rest of it, and hopefully I'll have it finished by end of the session. So stay tuned, everybody.
Yay. If KP can do it, you can also do it. Okay, so yeah, that's about it. What I did here to achieve this one big container and then two containers side by side is simple. I'm gonna take it out and show you how to do it. But we had these three containers on top of each other before. We can simply drag this container to the left of the other container and then drag the third container to the bottom of the second white container. And then you'll automatically have this format. Three containers side by side. Yeah, and then the last part would be the footer. I'm gonna showcase on how to build this from a section template right now, since we're building stuff from scratch. But let's say you wanna build everything from scratch, but you're pretty sure that you just wanna use one of the templates for one of the section, let's say the footer, then you can simply type section template, click here, select a template, and then since we wanna add a CTA first and then a footer, and then we're gonna click this one. I would say this would be the most similar footer to the one I've designed, just different fonts. But yeah, it's just a built-in section template for you. That's it. And then the last part would be the footer. So select a template again, click footer, then just choose the kind of footer you like. I would say the footer that I designed for Manny is most similar to this one, just different fonts. Let's wait for it to load. Yeah, it has loaded now. Just different fonts, different color, which you can always customize. Change the font and then change the background color to just black instead of that background image from just now. Yeah, that's about it. Another design thing that might be useful that we also take inspiration from Apple is that whose website is not on dark mode these days, and building a dark mode website is just one click away in Typedream. You can simply click on this toggle and everything will be converted into dark mode. Notice that your heading earlier and your button was black. But if you select dark mode, then everything will be reverted to white. Everything should be automatic. And the blur navigation bar looks more beautiful on dark mode as well. Just my personal opinion. If you want to stay in light mode, but you want your visitors to have the freedom of seeing your website in either dark mode or light mode, then you can go to site settings and you can enable the light or dark mode toggle here. Update settings, and then let me show you the published version. You can simply click publish, go to the published version, and then you'll see your visitors will see a toggle here. So they have the freedom to view your website in either light mode or dark mode. That is just the design default design touch that we add. So if you're not a designer, it would be very easy to use Typedream. So yeah, I think I've covered everything. It's if you want to finalize on your publishing part, you can always add a custom domain. You can purchase your domain as elsewhere, like in GoDaddy or Namecheap or other domain providers, and just connect your domain here. Should be just you should just be able to enter your domain, and you should see the instructions on how to connect it there. And then you can optimize your website for search engines. So you can add the meta title, meta descriptions, and you should see everything here. Just fill it out and your website will be indexed by Google and will be optimized for other search engines as well. Yeah, that's about it. What else did I miss, Manny?
I think you covered quite a bit. I mean, for me, I like the fact that I'm essentially outsourcing the design and all these widgets to TypeShare, and I can just focus on copy, because that's hard enough, right? Like I just
Yes,
want to
yes.
like focus on this headline, my social proof, the call to action, and all that. And I just feel like with TypeShare, like I don't have to worry about the design aspect. You got that covered. You're making it super easy for me to edit this stuff. So that's really great. That's really very helpful for me.
Thank you so much. So KP, I guess we can open it to Q&A now.
Absolutely. The chat is blowing up. So if you have any questions, I think Vikram, you have a question. You want to unmute yourself and ask it, or do you want me to read your question here?
Hey, no, I just unmuted. Thanks. I will read the question. So it was, I think it's pretty basic, but let's say you want to add a couple photos to your website. I just was wondering if you could show us how you do that.
Sorry, add a couple of what?
Say photographs, or I think it's, yeah, just pictures.
Oh, just pictures. Okay.
Yeah.
So you can simply type /image, and then you can either upload your own image, you can upload a link from Google, or you can go to our resources tab, in which we've curated some assets we take from Icons 8. Does that answer your question?
It does. And
Okay.
to get the block, is it just add a new block? For some reason, when I click add a new block on, I'm kind of doing it, playing around with the tool with you. And, you know, when I click add a new block on the bottom right, it doesn't do anything.
Oh, it should. Yeah, it added a new block for me here.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Okay.
You know, I'm going to refresh. I'll test that.
Or
out.
maybe
I'll
if you have
the
an
page.
existing, maybe if you have an existing text block, it's easier to click enter after the text box, and then you can move the block around.
Okay, perfect.
Anywhere you want, and then simply type / for commands, and then you can browse the things you want to add here, including /image.
All right, perfect. Yeah, I did that.
Yeah.
Great. That worked. Thank you.
Cool. Anyone else has any questions? Oh, I see. I just saw Miranda's question about the ability to add custom fonts that aren't Google fonts. If you mean by adding a font you upload from your computer, then that's not possible yet, but Google fonts should be enough for most people, since Google has a lot of font selections. But yeah, it's on our feature request list to upload a font.
Cool, thank you. And then the one other thing I had just written into the chat was, if you were to want to have more control over the styling of things like cards with the drop shadow and rounded corners and things like that, is there a way to control like the roundness and the drop shadow, or not really?
No, it's not possible right now. It's because we want to focus on the defaults. So people who doesn't have any design background can create a beautiful website.
Cool, totally makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. I see a hand raised. Is it Leslie who have a question?
Yes. Hey, KP. Hey, Michelle. That was awesome. This is an incredible site. Congratulations. So this is a general question. I've always been told by web developers that building your SEO in tools like this to try to get to the top of Google is more challenging opposed to using a WordPress site. I don't know if that's just a sales tactic by them, but can either of you dive a little deeper into the SEO capabilities of this tool and other no-code website build sites?
Yeah, I would say that is not true, because as long as you set the 3 important things of SEO, then You should be able to ship a website that is as good in SEO as if you code it yourself or as if you use WordPress. WordPress is just another no-code website builder tool, right? So it should be the same. But I'm gonna try using another site here because with the SEO functionality, you need to upgrade to one of our paid plans, but we have 3 important SEO parts that you can set. The first one is the site-wide SEO. Second part is per page SEO. And the third part is to add alt text to each image. So if your image doesn't load for some reason, or for those who can't view the image, then they'll be able to see the alternate text. Those 3 things boost SEO. So the first one, the site-wide SEO, you can simply go to site settings and then search engine optimization. You can fill the meta title and meta description, in which it'll appear on Google. So let's say the title is, what was Manny's website? New revenue, lower cost, real AI. And it'll be updated like this on Google. And then the description is this one. Yeah, so if you save this and publish your site, then when you search your website on Google, it'll show this one. But you have to keep in mind that Google only crawls your website once a week, so the change won't be instant, but it'll be there eventually. And then you also want to optimize on your social cards. So when you share your website on socials like Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, or other social media, then it won't show like a random image, but it'll actually show what you want to show. So let's say I want to use this image for the card. Then you'll be able to update, and then the title and the description should automatically take from your meta title and description, but you can always update that. Let's say for Twitter, you want to use this description, but you want to add sign up now, something like that. So that is the site-wide SEO. Aside from the site-wide one, you can also update the SEO for a particular page. So let's say this one, you can click on the 3 dots beside the page name. That will bring out this page option. Then you can scroll down to SEO and sharing and do the same thing. Update the metadata, update the Twitter card, Facebook card, and this per page SEO will supersede the site-wide one. So if you don't set any per page SEO, then all of your pages will just take the site-wide SEO. But if you set the SEO for the particular page, then you will see the per page one. And I would say it is very recommended to set the per page SEO because you just want to populate Google with as much as of your content as possible. So just populate Google with keywords you want people to search. Like, let's say you have a blog within your site, then just type something with blog, the description, something with blog as well. So when people search your keyword, then your site hopefully will pop up somewhere in the first page, if that makes sense. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah, 100%. That was my question. Thank you very much for the thorough response.
Of course. And then let us go back to our site, which was Big Plasma. The third part of the SEO is you can add an alternate text for when your image doesn't load. If your visitor has a bad connection or the image is blocked for some reason, you can add an alternate text to describe what your image is, and every text you add to your website contributes to SEO. So it is a good way to boost SEO as well.
Michelle, while we're here on this topic of SEO, actually, this is a very popular myth in the no-code, low-code world, where people think that if you use a no-code tool, you know, if you don't use WordPress, people think that, oh yeah, it's gonna have a massive dent in your SEO rankings, which is completely bonkers. I've built 15 projects so far. I've never had an SEO issue because of the choice of the tool. Like, so if you can can you do Control T and open Google and search for the keyword build in public? Just build space. Yeah, just like that.
Yeah.
So boom. And she's like, you can tell this from the first link. That's actually my site. If you open that, it's on Webflow. And I did zero work on SEO. Literally not even what Michelle just suggested to all of us. And the reason I still rank number 1 for the keyword, that's a hotshot keyword, build in public. Everybody wants to have a thing for that keyword, is purely because I just create consistent content. And I've done one time a good job of setting the SEO right using Webflow back when I was working on the site. And I let the content take care of my SEO rankings. I think this is a popular myth. I didn't use WordPress. I didn't use anything. And it's even a .xyz. A lot of people give me shit about how your domain has to be .com to be on number 1. I couldn't buy it in time. So I just got .xyz for $1. It cost me $1 when I bought this in 2020. And it's still like number 1. And so, Leslie, back to you. A lot of this like micro optimizations people are trying to pitch you on, or developers trying to like overthink on, it's like trying to buy like, the bells and whistles, like trying to buy the most comfortable running shoes. I think what really matters is running. If you are running every day, if you are consistent every day in creating content and putting it out there, nothing can beat you, in the long run. And so I just wanted to show you like that site that was built on Webflow, number 1 on SEO, and I've done no work specifically on SEO. So same thing with, I'm sure, like Typedream. The other comment I wanted to make was, I don't know if everybody else felt the same way, but so far, just looking so deep into Typedream, it feels like it's a perfect hybrid between Notion and Webflow. That's like the one-line description that I think it's living up to. Yeah, David agrees. And I know, Jake, you're a big Webflow fan, which I love Webflow, right? But I think the text-based usage or text-based accessibility of Typedream is just awesome. So kudos again to you and your team, Michelle.
Thank you so much, KP.
And KP, can I just jump in here and say, I really like that tip about focusing on content and not all these little hacks. Like that's going to drive you a long way. And as I mentioned, I went with Typedream for my personal website, in part because I was trying to do that. I have a blog, a podcast, and I'm doing live shows.
Nice.
And I needed a way to populate that somewhere pretty quickly. And as I was looking around, I saw that Typedream also had a new CRM function, content management
CMS.
system.
I think CMS,
yeah,
right?
CMS.
Yeah.
CMS.
Right. And I was like looking around for options, and I kept writing like, oh, you got to do WordPress, And I don't want to do WordPress. Like, I just feel like it's not me. I don't want to go down that weed. And so when I saw that Typedream had that as an option, I was like, okay, this is like, I got to do this for my site then. And so I've been trying it out. I really like it. It ties into Notion. It makes it super easy for me to create a new entry and then port that elsewhere. So as you're looking to develop the content, I'd say also check out Typedream's CMS functionality that they recently rolled out. I think it was like 2 months ago that they rolled it out as another tip.
I can't wait to actually, if we have, if we have 2 minutes, we'll go to the CRM part.
CMS.
CMS. Oh my God. Now you've incepted my mind, Manny. But two last parts to this session. One, Michelle, if you can give us a quick 2-minute, fly overview of CMS. I'm really curious too, because I also have a podcast and I have, like weekly episodes that come out, and I want to be able to pipe them through Notion so that my site is always fresh with the latest episode or something. So maybe you can show us a high level.
Yeah.
And then the last one I want to show everybody else is the Typedream site that I've been building on the side. So I'd love to give a sneak peek, but go on.
Yeah, let's do it. So I just navigated to a different site because with CMS, you need a paid subscription as well. But you can simply click on this new collection. We can only connect with Notion for now, but we're planning to add Airtable and Google Sheets as well.
Nice.
You'll be asked to add your Notion account, which I already connected here. So I can simply click next. And then if you don't have a Notion table yet, you can simply duplicate our Notion table template. So we have the correct formatting and everything, but I already have some tables I can connect. So I want to connect my blog table for now. Yeah, so it says here that I already connected, but if you haven't connected, then you should be able to just click next. And then it should be here under blog. So this is just the template. Actually, I'll just create a new collection so I can show you the entire onboarding process. I'll just duplicate a Notion template that we have. Click duplicate, which should add to my Notion. And then the second step is to invite Typedream to my Notion table. And you can do this by clicking share and then type Typedream. You should be able to select this integration. We already have the integration with Notion. Click invite. And then once you've invited Typedream, it should appear under select table, which is my second blog, which hopefully is this one. Blog new. Connect table, and then you should be able to pick a template. Since it's a blog, you have a few blog templates. Let's just pick this one for today. And then you can map your fields to the correct one. And then you should also be able to select a template for the item page itself. So when you click on a certain blog, then you can pick a template on how the blog will look like. Click next, map the fields, finish. That's it. That's the general thing. So we'll be able to see, it should be this one. Yeah, so this is the template we picked. And then if we click preview, if we go to a certain blog, then you'll see the template as well. Yeah, it's clickable. Click this. Yep. And then you can simply fill the content itself in Notion. So like the long content here. This is just an example. It's for the 10 design website. So if I go to the item of the 10 design website, and then I can simply sync the content with Notion. So I can click on the 3 dots here, import from Notion, import content. Yeah, it'll be imported here. And then if you preview, then we'll have the content here.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's it. That's the CMS with Notion. What we're gonna add Airtable and Google Sheets very soon.
That is awesome. I love it. I mean, this is again like super low hanging fruit in my view. If you have anything that's recurring in terms of content, you know, your top tweets each week, your top podcast episodes, anything that's recurring, your video, YouTube videos, I think you should have a, page. Yeah, just like that.
Yeah, that is what I do with my personal site. I have my journey section here, which is just a compilation of my Twitter threads.
Nice.
When I click, it's just the content of my Twitter thread, really. Wow. I didn't even bother updating the content.
I love it. Awesome. Cool. So I know we're coming close to the end of this. Thank you so much, Michelle, for showing us, showing us all about Typedream and, being gracious enough to turn Manny's bare bones site into, now a Apple-like stunning site. So appreciate that. If you can pull this up, just a quick, sorry, not that one. I'm sorry. Let me give you another link. Not that one, sorry.
It's your site, right?
Yeah, I just wanted to show you, just so that, folks believe me that I was actually, I was building. So click on the second link in Zoom chat. And
is it this one?
Yeah, the productized services.
Okay.
Did that open?
Oh, sorry, it's open. Sorry. Here you go.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
So this is what I was building as Michelle was doing the demo. And this is actually one of the modules that we're teaching at the build tracks. That's why I'm really excited. Super underrated business model is this thing called productized services. I mean, this was mentioned on The MFM podcast, Sean Puri and Sam Parr have talked about this too, where you could take something that's like a fluid service, like design services, or, I don't know, like do podcast for you, editing services or whatever. And if you can make them standardized in a scope perspective and a fixed price, you have uncovered a huge business opportunity. There's so many businesses that can be productized, quote unquote, and people haven't tapped the potential of this. And so one of the 6 weeks that I'm teaching at the Build Track is how do you take something that you already know, your expertise, and how do you productize that? And so this is basically a collection of all the current productized services that I have documented from other people. So if you guys, are interested, play around. You see Design Joy. There's some guy doing Roast My Landing Page. There's Codelet and Sweetfish Media and so on. So it's a quick landing page I whipped up.
Cool. Thanks for sharing, KP.
Of course. Awesome. Thanks, everybody. I think this was, we're close to the time here. So want to say super thanks once again to Michelle and Manny. Hopefully now you're a happy man.
I'm very happy.
Happy Manny.
I got to give TypeShare some sort of commission on my next couple of deals.
You should, you know what? I would appreciate, give us a public shout out, because a lot of folks who couldn't attend this Zoom may have missed what went on here. So please tag, Michelle, please tag me and, day one, and we're happy to re-amplify that. So thanks, everybody. Hope to see you in one of the future build workshops again. Bye.
Oh, actually, before we end, can I just give a promo code to everyone here?
You should have led with that, Michelle. Come on.
I just remembered that I
Yes,
want to do it right now. But yeah, I just shared the promo code link to this chat.
Nice.
So you can simply sign up using that link, and you should get 10% off.
Nice, very cool.
Of all plans.
Very cool. We will make sure we include that in our promotions as well. Thank you so much. And
thank you so much, KP, for hosting. Thank you so much, Maddie, for volunteering, and thank you so much, everyone, for building your site with me and for tuning in to this rebuild.
Awesome. This is a wrap. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.